Our world is in a very fragile state, but large corporations have the ability to fix this. Large corporations like L'Oreal have the financial abilities and global reach to increase sustainability so that generations below us can benefit from the same resources that we cherish today. A company's supply chain has more impact than its operations does in terms of the environment and society. The supply chain, on average, accounts for 80% of greenhouse gas emissions and 90% of the impact on air, land, water, and biodiversity. The supply chain accounts for a large portion of the environmental impact, so it is a good place to target to support sustainability efforts. We now have more ability to examine supply chains because we have the technical abilities and software to analyze large data sets. Analyzing this data can tell us which aspects of the supply chain we should target to boost the sustainability efforts to get the greatest outcome. L'Oreal has made enormous steps in sustainability in the past 10 years, and I'm excited to see where we together can go in the following 10. Your teams have made efforts to source natural ingredients to support local communities, use recycled materials when deciding which packaging to use, saving water and using clean energy, and much, much more. This is a huge success, but there's always room for improvement. 115 of the world's largest organizations began asking suppliers for environmental information, and after this information was disclosed, they saw a reduction in carbon dioxide emissions by 633 million metric tons. This has proved to be a best practice, so it would be a good place for L'Oreal to start, as it would be relatively simple compared to some other options that they could take, and it would also have a very good outcome as it has had very good outcomes for other organizations. To dive deeper into the distribution network of L'Oreal, it would be tough because L'Oreal has a very diverse and large, extensive supply chain. The distribution network is essentially the intermediate process of getting the product from the manufacturer to the customer. It is impossible to hit on every point. As I said, L'Oreal's supply chain and distribution network is very extensive, but in general, it goes something like this. There is a company that builds the cardboard packaging that wraps the product up. Then there's a company that makes the tubing that you would put mascara in, so that's the product. Then there's a facility that's going to make the actual product, which would be the mascara or a skin cream, something along those lines. And then there are retail stores like Target, Ulta, Sephora that will sell the products. In between all these facilities is a transportation system. There are several ways to make this network more sustainable. If I were given data, I could target individual places where we should focus the efforts, but without the data, I will do my best. One way to reduce emissions and fuel consumption is to consolidate manufacturing efforts from multiple plants to one, multiple facilities to one. It's kind of like doing most of the manufacturing processes in one facility rather than multiple, so that the transportation is not needed between all these facilities and thus emissions are reduced. Additionally, we can increase sustainability throughout the distribution network by ensuring facilities are exploited to use all resources in the most optimal way possible. Before doing any company-wide drastic change, it would be best to implement it in one small region. This would be best because in the small region you can identify where the problems will be, how to fix them, so you know how to tackle these issues when you fully implement it, and you can get out the kinks beforehand. A way to go about the change is to calculate the current emissions in the supply chain by contacting your suppliers, pick a region, try to cut the number of facilities in half by consolidating 2 into 1, so doing more steps of the manufacturing process in one facility. Then you should calculate the emissions again and see if there was any type of reduction. After this first trial, it would be good to implement another type of change that you could implement to reduce emissions or any type of sustainability. This would have to be done either at a different region or at the same region but at a different time period. This would have to be done so you can detect which change is actually causing a reduction in emissions or an increase in sustainability. If you did it at the same time, in the same region, you wouldn't be able to tell which one caused the change because not enough variables would be controlled. Again, it is crucial that you measure the emissions before and after so you can analyze the data to detect which change caused the increase in sustainability. Overall, L'Oreal has been a leader in sustainability and has efficiently optimized their supply chain and distribution network, and I would be honored to put my ideas forth in such an effective, large, influential setting as the Supply Chain Hackathon with L'Oreal.